second chance in the game.
Mike Popovich with Collinsville High School football, talking about screen game today. Our screen game has been a big part of who we are for a program since pretty much 2007. It's something that we believe in big time, and we believe it's an extension of our run game, and really kind of taking a model from Tony Franklin's system that we can be average at pretty much everything else, but if we're great at screens, we're going to have some success. Some of the things that I talk about with screen game that are non-negotiable to us. First of all is this: you've got to be willing to go ahead and set 5 to 10 minutes a day aside for screen period. You cannot go ahead and just say, well, we're going to run this screen on Friday night and we need to run it 2 or 3 times. It's no different than going ahead if you're a wing T team and you're running buck sweep, or if you're running inside veer, whatever it is, it does not matter. You've got to do it over and over. You have to rep it. So we will set 5 to 10 minutes aside every day to rep our screen period. And it might be out of a specific formation that day, it might be a specific screen, whatever it is, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to try and do that. We have to pay attention to details. You can't go ahead and decide that, we're going to let the receiver do this today, or we're going to let him do that. No, it's got to be the same. They've got to know what to expect. Alignment's huge. We've got to make sure that all 11 are on the same page when we're doing this. So we harp on details with our screen game big time, and it's probably why we've been so successful with the screen game. On air is most effective. Okay, so when we go 5 to 10 minute periods, everybody has practice player All-Americans on the field when you go against them. D linemen that all of a sudden can now sniff out a screen like you wouldn't believe. Or you've got a linebacker or a hole player, an outside backer, whoever, a safety that flies down, or a corner because they see it every day, they mess it up. So we will go typically right after dynamic, we go through our EDDs, and then we're 5 minutes of screen period. And when we do our screens, it's on air. I want a lot of reps. We'll go ahead and we'll do what I call ping pong, which is you'll have a group going one way and then we'll have a group going another way. So that way I can go ahead and I can look, because you guys know how it goes. Oftentimes your ones get so many reps and your twos, they go ahead and they get cast aside. You're not getting enough quality reps. And not only does that kid, they might have a kid that might have to play on Friday night, but also at that lower level. We talk about gaining confidence. At those lower levels, that sophomore, that JV level, we want them running screens. It's very, very difficult to defend. So we go ahead and we are on air most of the time. We will sprinkle them in when we go ahead. We script during practice, obviously. So if we're in a team run period and the defense knows that, our scout team defense, they'll pin their ears back and they'll start going. So we'll try and go ahead and mix some of that in there, because we do have screens off of our run game. And then also we'll go ahead and we'll sprinkle it into our 90s period as well, which is our 3-step. I talked about scripting practice. It is very, very important that you're putting them in. If you don't put them in, you guys will go ahead and you'll find yourself in a situation where Friday night you're like, I don't feel good, I don't feel comfortable running that because we haven't repped it enough. Another non-negotiable for me is throw them even when they're not working. And that's very, very difficult for some people to understand, because they see a kid get blown up, or they see a jail screen get blown up, or whatever it is, or maybe we throw a pick and you're like, man, we can't do that anymore. You have to. You have to, because if you don't do that, there's a lot that goes ahead, and there's a lot of other parts, a lot of moving parts that are affected now. Your offensive line being first and foremost, which should be your number one concern going into a game, making sure that they are in a position where they're being armed, they're confident. And if your offensive line, all of a sudden, you've stopped running screens, you're allowing the D linemen to pin their ears back and come, and that could definitely go ahead, and that will be a problem. You also become much more one-dimensional, which is significantly easier to defend if you're not throwing screens. And it's a big part of our offense, so if somebody has the ability to take that away, we will still go ahead and throw screens even as the game progresses, even if we're struggling with it, because we want to keep them honest. You've got to be willing to adjust and change when necessary, whether it be a route. You guys can have a ton of success running screens, maybe week 1, week 2, and then all of a sudden week 3 you haven't changed anything, and now a team has seen that and they're teeing off on something that you're giving off. So you've got to change up, whether it be the route itself or maybe a formation or a motion, whatever it is that you can do, or release, however you want to do it. But there are different ways, and I'm going to talk about window dressing today. One of the non-negotiables for me is vertical setting up front. We vertical set with our offensive linemen. A lot of people don't like that. There's a couple reasons why we do that. Number one, it definitely helps us pick up blitzes. We're able to see, sift through stunts and different blitzes. It all unfolds in front of us. The other thing that we know is it significantly improves our screen game. We go from vertical setting where we'll take 4 steps to all of a sudden now we vertical set for 2 steps. We invite the D lineman upfield, and now we've got a clear path to go ahead and get out and get flat. So that is very, very important for us. So that's a non-negotiable. No dancing. Some of my best screen runners that I have are kids that catch the ball and get vertical. I want 5. We talk about get me 5 before you do anything else. Then you can make a move. I want 5. One of the best screen runners I've ever had was probably one of the slowest receivers I've ever had. But the kid got north-south, and he was a dangerous screen runner as a result. A couple other non-negotiables. Fox, what we call Fox. We will go ahead and we'll have a play-action fake off of it to where we can go vertical. We want teams to not be flying up. We want them to understand that we can hurt them vertically. If you're playing with tempo, you've got to take into consideration the fact that jail screens as the game progresses, you're going to struggle to run that. Defensive linemen are going to get tired. They're not going to come upfield. So yes, you can still screen, but it's got to be a little bit slower developing, or it's got to be off of a run play, which we'll talk about. Also, throw fast early. Our fast screens on the outside, also some of you guys call them now screens. We call them fast. When we throw our fast, we want those D linemen and linebackers, especially early on. If there's a kid that we don't feel like we can block, that we're going to struggle with, we're going to try and tire them out from running sideline to sideline. So we'll do that a lot. All right, the first screen I want to talk about is our Alabama screen. I was just telling Nate that this is why I'm not a kindergarten teacher. My handwriting is atrocious, so deal with it, guys. When we talk about our Alabama screen, we will typically only run this to the right side. And the reason being is if I've got a right-handed quarterback. We want him to be able to see. We want his vision to be the defensive end on the right side. We want the screen in his vision. So what we're doing here, guys, also, I want to go ahead and I want to run it away from trips as much as possible. So when we have our defensive end out here, all right, we're actually going to go ahead and we're going to read him, okay? So the first thing that we're going to do is this. As soon as the ball is snapped, our F is going to basically go up for a 2 count. He'll step up, 1001, 1002, wait. We want to invite them in just like we would on pass protection. Our right guard and our right tackle are vertical setting. Now, we've talked about this. When we vertical set, they'll always take 4 steps. Here's a little bit different, because we want to go ahead and we only want to take 2 steps. So when I step back right here, I'm grabbing and I'm throwing. We talk about dish towel right now. So both my right guard and my right tackle are going ahead, taking 2 steps back, grabbing, ripping dish towel, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to get out flat. So we want to go ahead and we want to take our 2 steps back, we want to grab, and we want to dish towel. Now there's a possibility based on what we're seeing that our right guard's not going to have anybody over the top of him. That's okay. A couple points of emphasis for the lineman. After I dish towel, you have got to be flat for 5. I can't tell you specifically where you're going. I can't tell you you're going to this guy, because we all know that defenses are going to go ahead, they're going to stem, they're going to move around, and that is fine. But we want to invite this guy upfield, we want to grab, we want to dish towel, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to get out flat. Same thing with the guard right here. We're working out. Now with our Z on the outside, what I've realized at the high school level is there's a lot of corners who don't tackle. So this year we'll probably go ahead and we will crack, we'll work back to the safety. So we're going to push him up, we're going to stick up and try and go get the safety. If not, if you've got a corner that you're worried about, you can go ahead and block on, that's fine. But like I said, these two right here, this right guard and this right tackle, are not in a situation where we're telling them you specifically have that guy. We just want to make sure we're stepping back, grabbing, dish towel, and now I'm getting flat, and I'm going to get out there and I'm going to lead this. From our F standpoint, like I just said, we're stepping up 1001, 1002, and then I want to go ahead and I want to get out right now as quick as I can. I want that defensive end invited up, and then I want to get out and I want to keep my shoulders square and get my head turned back to the quarterback. As a quarterback, we are looking at this defensive end. Now we tell him it is a little bit different, because I want to eye this defensive end up nonstop. I know that he's going to be coming free, so I've got to make sure that I'm getting back. So when that ball is snapped, I want to make sure that I'm getting my 3-step drop in right here, and as he comes up, I want to continue to retreat a little bit more. If he continues to work up, all I'm doing is just dumping the ball right over the top into the F, and we've got a nice little convoy, all right, that is out in front of him. This is our Alabama screen. Now, backside, just in case we get into a situation, we will run jail, we can run fast, whatever it is, because there is the possibility that this defensive end, after you've run it a couple times, this defensive end is going to go ahead and step upfield, and then all of a sudden he's going to get out and go with the F. All right? But for us, like I said one more time, quarterback's going to go ahead, push back, 1, 2, 3. Defensive end continues to attack. I'm going to continue to retreat, and I'm dropping the ball over the top, getting big and dropping the nose in the bucket. All right? With these two, just to reiterate, getting back, 1, 2, dish towel, and we're going to get out in the flats. We're going to be flat for 5. Flat for 5 means 5 steps, and then we can turn up, and we're going to go ahead and find work. Okay, so what we're looking at right here, guys, is this is against Mascoutah a few years back. I believe this is 2014. We've got trips left. We've got press everywhere. So this is great from a Z standpoint. We're going to flip this down here. We can do a couple different things. We tell our Z, obviously, now we're going to go ahead. We could crack back on that inside backer. We could get up to safety. We also could go ahead and run him, run this guy off, which is what I believe we do right here. But you're going to see this defensive end as soon as we go. Linemen are stepping back, and our right guard goes ahead and takes off immediately because he felt like he could. And of course, we go ahead and we completely whiff, and we need to be flat on this one. But you're going to see the tackle not do a bad job, get hands on. We would rather him grab and dish towel, because when he grabs and he dish towels, we know for a fact that defensive end's coming upfield. If you go ahead and you miss, all right, if you miss, there's a good chance that he redirects. But you see our quarterback's footwork right here. He goes ahead, 1, 2, 3, getting hot feet. We teach that. He's going to keep retreating, inviting them up, and we're just dropping the ball over. F's going to go ahead, step up, guys. 1, 2, getting out. We're flipping it over the top, and we got the convoy out in front of him. Now there's the right guard into the picture. Defensive end comes inside. Now where you really run into problems is this. This right tackle right here, guys. Let's say this guy takes an outside release, okay, an outside release on us. We've got to get hands on. That means you got to get hands on. You got to get rid of him. And I've really got to make sure that I emphasize being flat coming out of this because of the path that the defensive end took. We're lucky he came inside, and we ended up hitting it for a big play. Same game right here. Once again, pressed on the outside. Now, Mascoutah's in a situation where they are cover one, and they're bringing people everywhere. Even better. I love when we see pressure. We want to go ahead and we want to run screens as much as we possibly can. But same thing. So now this right tackle's in a different situation now because he's got a guy who's naturally probably going to go ahead and line up outside, come outside. He does a good job of getting high, showing his hands, and getting out. Our right guard releases a little bit earlier than what I want. F steps up. He's going to get square, and we're dropping right in. Now this kid, this backer right here that walks down, this kid was a player too. Even though he sees it and he tries to get out there, we've retreated. We throw the ball right over the top, dropping the nose in the bucket, and we've got ourselves a nice little play here. That's our Alabama screen. Typically, guys, we'll go ahead and we try and run that twice a game. Like I said, we're going to do it to the right side because we've got a right-handed quarterback. If I had a left-handed kid, I'd do it to the left side. I just don't feel comfortable pushing back 3-step with that defensive end and having to drop the ball over the top, or if I don't like it, now all of a sudden have to turn my shoulders and throw jail back to the right side if I'm going opposite. I'm not a big fan of that. So that's why we go to the right. We're going to talk about a jail screen now. Our jail screen, we do it a couple different ways, and I want to talk about footwork from the receiver standpoint, also who we're blocking, and also give you an idea of how we window dress things. And we're going to be talking about jail to the X over here, which just is going to mean 51, or you could say X jail, it doesn't matter, whatever it is. But we're going to start it off with our X, okay? Our footwork for the X. Now, we do it a couple different ways, guys, and I talked about this in a different video about making changes, doing things differently that you need to window dress, making sure you're staying ahead of the curve. What we'll do at the beginning of the year is this. We're actually going to, as an X, balls inside foot's up. I'm going to push up 3 steps as hard as I can. 1, 2, 3. Put my foot in the ground. I'm going to retrace back in an angle. 1, 2, 3, stick. Make sure that I'm going ahead. I'm behind the line of scrimmage, and I'm attacking the football right here. Now, with our jail screens, you'll hear me say this to our kids nonstop, ride the wave back to the outside. Always ride the wave back to the outside once you've caught it. So our first footwork, that's what we'll do. Other things that we will do is this. I've got some kids who struggle with that. They don't get back in time. They're not quick. So we have changed it. We've allowed them to go ahead, inside foot up. We've allowed them to stick. And as soon as they stick, now I'm attacking. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm attacking the football once again. I'm catching the ball, and I'm riding the wave. All right? The other thing we've done with a receiver who struggled with both of those is we'll tighten him down just a tad, and we'll actually allow him to shuffle. 1, 2, 3, stick, and now I'm going to go ahead and I'm working back, catching the ball, and I'm riding the wave back to the outside. So there's 3 different ways we'll run this. Now, when you get a receiver who's good and all of a sudden he does something well and maybe somebody picks up on that and he can change, allow him to change based on alignment, whatever he needs to do. In our 2 spot right here from the H, we're actually going to go ahead. Our big thing is we want to push up 2 to 3 steps and we want to work to kick out. Just like our power solo screen, if that corner goes ahead and tries to come down underneath it, come here and follow it, we're in great shape because when we catch this ball here and ride the wave back to the outside, we don't have a lot of defenders that we got to worry about. The worst thing that he can do for us is actually come back over the top, and that's okay because we're still there. We still got a nice gain out of it. But we want to push up typically 2 steps because our inside foot is up and we're working to kick out on number 2. I talked about window dressing. We also have sent him in motion before, fake and fly sweep to the opposite side. With our jail backside, guys, we keep it very, very simple. We'll go CYE, conserve your energy, or maybe we'll even tag a fast screen on the backside just in case a quarterback comes up, sees a look he doesn't like. I can turn, I can flip the ball out there and be done with it. Bubble, same thing. In the backfield, our action is this. I want the F to be bringing as much attention out as possible. We'll run bullet motion. Whether he starts on this side or that side, it doesn't matter. Quarterback will send him and we'll take off, and we'll give him a fake out there. We want linebackers to take 1 to 2 false steps. We want them to squat. We want them to slow play things. We want them to be worried about motion opposite. And that's one way to do this. So then when we go ahead and we're not as concerned about backers because they step out here and it allows us to get up into the second level quicker. From a quarterback standpoint, very, very similar to Alabama as far as I need to get back and I need to retreat. The only difference is this now. As I'm going ahead, if I send him in motion and he takes off and I'm dropping back to my 3rd step, we always talk about as that ball's riding high, I want to give a big fake. I want to show the football right now, 2, 3, stop. Now I'm turning and I'm finding my target. So if we're going to run it opposite, we can go ahead and pump here, or we'd actually take the football in our right hand and we would fake with our left with no ball in it as we're stepping back 2, 3. Now I'm turning. The big thing with screen game, guys, is this. The quarterback's eyes need to make sure they're looking away. I understand they've got to put their foot in the ground, and I understand they now have to find their target, and it's very, very difficult. But our eyes with our quarterbacks, it helps us out significantly. All right? We want them to go ahead and move defenders with their eyes. So he is going to push back, making sure I'm getting back to 3 steps because there's a lot of dudes up front that we're not touching. We're not blocking. So you need to get back. If you get hit on this one, it's because you weren't bailing. So as we work back, I'm giving that play fake, 2, 3, stop, turn. I'm going to find my target, and I'm going to make sure I'm putting an upfield shoulder and we're going. Now with our line, guys, we do a couple different things. It depends. We also adjust on this. But ideally, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take this guy and we're going to vertical set him. Why? We want this defensive end to go ahead and we want him pass rushing. And the best way for us to get him to do that is by vertical setting. So if we're here and we're stepping back 1, 2, 3, 4, he's coming up, we're going to block him. We're going to high wall him. That's fine. If you don't do that with this tackle, oftentimes the defensive end is the one that sniffs it out, and he's athletic enough to turn and get back into this area, which we do not want him in, and he's got problems. For your screen runners, the worst thing that can possibly happen is A, you've got a D-line that goes ahead and puts his foot in the ground and comes back and stiffs it out and you get hit before the ball even gets there, or B, your buddy just completely whiffs on a ball because then you're not very courageous, and that's not what we want. So we're going to invite this kid up. We're going to high wall him. just like our Alabama screen, we're going to have these two go ahead, and they're going to do a quick set. We're going to show high, all right, and then we're getting out flat right now. We always talk about this. Where's your aiming point at? Where do you have? Well, who do you have? Which guy do you have? No. You've got an aiming point. When we're running, this guard and this center are running together, you're like a foosball stick. All right? So if this dude's getting out flat, you need to work off of him 5 yards. You shouldn't be uptight to him, because if a foosball stick moves, that guy moves too. You shouldn't be on top of him. So we want to go ahead and we want to be flat, and as soon as we get out here, now we're turning up, and we tell them to go ahead and look for work. Linemen don't block anybody, guys, when it comes down to screen game. I need them to get in the way. I'm telling you, let them run down. They love it because they think they get to go at DBs, safeties, corners, and they're going to just kill them, and it never happens. But I'll tell you this, when your X is running this and you're telling them to ride the wave back to the outside, your X is athletic enough to go ahead and weave in and out of this, which is exactly what we want. Now, backside, we will go ahead and we'll do the same thing. We'll high wall him. We'll vertical set. We'll invite those defensive ends upfield. But we've got a special job right here for our right guard. They're the rat kill. The right guard is our rat kill. So we will go ahead and we will be 1-2 quick, and we're going to get flat. And our job is simple. We want to get across the line of scrimmage, so if there's any rat that happens to sniff it out and turn around, we're there to cut them off. Now, it's a little bit different because at the college level, you go ahead and you just cut it. You get out there, you cut them. We don't get that luxury. So we just want to go out there, get our body turned around to where when they turn, we're there to just go ahead and make sure that kid's not making a play. All right, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about jail here on film. We've got trips to the right. This is against Jerseyville a few years back. We talked about screen runner being guys that go ahead and they're explosive. They get upfield for 5, and then they make their move. This kid almost set the state receiving record against them predominantly off of screens this day. We talked about this, though. Trips right, what do we want to do with this F? We want to go ahead and we want to get him out. Now, we don't go bullet motion here, but he takes off immediately, and look at this. You got backer play going ahead, and they're stepping this way immediately. Okay? That's first and foremost. So we want to get that motion. Our quarterback's footwork, we're going to go ahead, 1, 2, 3. We're going to look away, eyes away the entire time. Then we're going to put our foot in the ground, and we're going to work back to our X. From a lineman standpoint, you've got your left tackle, vertical set, and inviting that defensive end upfield, making sure his hands stay down. Keep going. All right? You've got your left guard and your center getting out, being flat. Center gets hung up a little bit, but you do have your right guard here. All right? If you notice your right guard, he goes ahead and he takes care of rat kill. He does a nice job of getting his body turned around. Look at this. He misses, but at the same time, he got a hand on the guy. So by getting a hand on the guy, he slows him down just a tad. All right? On the outside, being the single receiver. Okay? We've got pressed on the inside. That's fine. We're going to push up 3. We're going to retreat back at an angle. We never want to retreat straight back. We always want to retreat back at an angle. That way you're going ahead, working back towards the quarterback. Pushes up 1, 2, 3. Now he's got him. Retreats back at an angle. Attacks the ball. Catches it. And what do we say we want our receivers to do? We want to ride the wave back to the outside. So he goes ahead, he rides it back to the outside, and he's off to the races. Same look right here, trips right, F to the right. We're going to go ahead, we're going to make sure he takes off. We give him a little play fake, getting out. Linebacker once again, we're seeing a 3-3 right here. This backer's got to go with him. He gets out. We get a better release from our left guard and our center right here. Tackle does a nice job of high walling, keeping his hands down. If you look over here at the X, 1, 2, 3, stick, retreat back at an angle. Goes ahead and he rides the wave back to the outside and has another big gain. Once again, same game. Trips right. Give that fake opposite. Letting him go. We're riding that wave back to the outside again. Here against a little bit different of a look. All right. So we go ahead and we come out in 2x2 out of this jail. And we've got... we were seeing some cover 1 against Mascoutah, so we knew that we were going to have people run with them. So we went ahead. We wanted to free it up a little bit, so we'll fake our fly sweep and get them going with. All right, down here, we've got our X. Goes ahead, pushes up 1, 2, 3, sticks, comes back, and retreats. Quarterback does an excellent job of going ahead, giving the fake, keeping his eyes away, guys, until he gets back to that third step. Now he's going to find. All right? Left guard, center both get out. Right guard's looking rat kill. Does a nice job. Doesn't have anybody. And this is what I just said. I told you guys, when you have a screen runner, the linemen aren't going to touch people half the time. I mean, it's just not going to happen. You look here, they actually do a decent job of getting a piece. And what did we say that we want those defenders to do? If they try and chase underneath, which both of them do, this is what you get. You're off to the races. Now, the only thing is this kid that makes a play was a freak athlete. But if you watch this backer, he actually steps opposite when he moves with the fly sweep, and we get him. And he just came back and made a heck of a play. But it really worked out well with what we were trying to do. Once again, trips right. We don't always have to be out of trips when we do this. I just know this. When I'm running jail, the more receivers, the more defenders you're bringing to the party. And by bringing more defenders to the party, you're going ahead and you got to block more kids. And that's a problem. All right? So we've got right here, we're going to give a play fake away. Just that little subtle, just right there, just little pump. All right? Do a great job of getting out, and we get a nice kill shot right here from the left guard. And this is the one that you want to show over and over again in film, guys. You want your linemen to think that this is going to happen all the time. Now, obviously, when we get out there, we want them breaking down. We want them chopping their feet, making sure they're making contact. But watch the left guard come out. Man, that's a perfect job of being flat. He gets out, all right, goes right by him. He's going to go ahead, break down, and gets a big old piece of him. And this is early on, too. So if you're that corner and you're sitting here thinking about all these jail screens and you've got kids coming out at you and they keep hitting you and stuff like this, you're going to get a little tired of it. So we had some big-time success with this jail screen. Now, once again, we've got the motion. They vacate. We're seeing man. Now, we've got to get him off. Guys, it's a little bit easier if I jab or if I shuffle when I don't have press. If I've got press, I've got to be willing to get vertical, I've got to get my hands on, and I've got to create separation. If I don't, they're going to go ahead and get right in my hip pocket and come with me. Now on this one, you'll notice our center does not do a great job of getting out. If he goes ahead and he keeps working, he doesn't find work right here. He needs to find work. Our left guard comes out, flying flat down the line because he's looking for another kill shot. If our center realizes that nobody's here and he actually goes ahead and redirects his attention upfield, then what happens is we've got a nice play and we're off to the races and we're going to score. Last one down here, last jail screen right here, we go motion. They send a lot of heat off the edge, which was perfect. We high wall, left guard gets out, center gets out. We got a lot of people looking for work, all right? We get a nice little clip there too, and it doesn't get called. That helps out sometimes if you can get away with that. Left guard's doing a great job of getting out. And once again, X does a great job of pushing up 3 steps, 1, 2, 3, getting separation, coming back and attacking the football. And what's he doing? He's riding the wave back to the outside every time, which is exactly what we want him to do. Now, going into the next game, we knew that as soon as we pushed up and as soon as we started retracing our steps, that those corners were going to fly up. And that was a problem. So we had to go ahead, we had to change, we had to adjust. So we went ahead and just put our foot in the ground. We were going to stick once and then go ahead and attack the football and score right off the bat. All right, we're going to talk about our power solo screen. It is a run game screen for us. We run power quite a bit. We also run GT quite a bit. So it's something where it really helps us out. And as coaches continue, one thing I noticed about defensive coaches, man, you go ahead and you give them tendencies and they see things, they coach their kids up so well. You've got to constantly try and stay ahead of the game somehow. So we want to teach, we want to have things that cause problems, especially for backers. So when we go ahead, obviously when we're running power, we know, let's just say that we're running power right here, we know our guard's going to pull. Whatever it may be. Maybe it be power read, maybe it be straight power, GT, whatever. So what are you taught as a backer? Well, these backers naturally go ahead and they start reading guards. As soon as they take off, man, we're going. So it's a lot of wing T teams, they'll influence, they'll do stuff, false pull, and that's what we're trying to do, except we're trying to hit this a little bit harder. Okay? So when we go ahead and we run power solo, this would be H power solo. We're not very difficult here. All right? We want to make sure that we keep things very, very simple for our kids. That's huge. H power solo or 52 power solo, because all of our 50s are on this side. When we go power solo here, guys, you're going to still get that power action where we're pulling. Everything's going to stay the same over here. So you're going to go ahead. If we've got 3, we'll double. We'll work up to back or whatever. Where it comes into play is our center and our tackle. So we've got a defensive end. Well, we know with power, oftentimes we're going to go ahead and we're going to hinge step in B gap and fan out. So we're going to protect B gap and make sure if that end comes that he's going ahead and it takes him a long time to get around. What we'll do is we're going to step down inside, and as that defensive end goes, we're going to let him go, and we're going to get out flat right here. Also with our line is our center, who typically on power is blocking back. If we've got an A-gap defender, we're actually going to go ahead and we're going to miss him. We're going to whiff, and we're going to be flat for 5. There's that flat for 5 again. And we tell him after you're flat for 5, you're going to curl up, and you're taking number 1 backer in the box, which is right here. What we've done with these 2 linemen is we've tried to create a sidewalk that we can go ahead and we can work through. We're going to try and get into this hole as quick as we can. So everything with power looks exactly like it does. The power solo screen, it meshes well with power. Now what we do on the outside is this. We can run it with the X or the H. It does not matter. We're going to start off and we're going to talk about running it with the H. We know that we're going to have an outside backer right here, or what we refer to as a hole player. All right? We want to get him taken care of. Well, guess what we do a lot with this H? We run bubble a ton. So as soon as that ball is snapped, man, we'll start backpedaling out as hard as we can to get him to bite on this, to bring him down. We want to invite him down. We want him to be over-aggressive, and as soon as he comes down, the H is going to go ahead. The H is actually looking for our quarterback's eyes, which we're going to talk about quarterback footwork in a second. But as soon as the H sees the quarterback's eyes, he plants his foot in the ground, and he's going to go ahead and he's going to attack the football. And what we're trying to do is, like I said, we're trying to catch it in here, and we're trying to get up on this sidewalk and get up into the next level. With our flat tackle going ahead and being responsible for number 1 guy outside the box, and our center going ahead, being flat for 5, curling up, and being responsible for cutting off number 1 in the box. This could be a basketball screen. We just tell them, get in front. It doesn't matter even if you get ran over. But this is the sidewalk that we want to go ahead and we want to create. All right? Now, with our quarterback's footwork, and we got a lot of stuff up here, but with our quarterback's footwork, we want to go ahead and we want to give that flash fake across our face. All right? And I want my eyes to be opposite. So if we're going H power solo to this side or 52 power solo, when I put that ball out, I'm not riding. I'm actually taking my step back, my first step back immediately, and I want my eyes away over here. So that I am 2, 3, plant, I'm turning, and I'm finding my receiver. And like I said, that H is bubbling out. And as soon as he sees the quarterback's eyes, man, my foot is being put in the ground, and I'm coming back, and I'm attacking the football, and I'm going to catch it, and I'm going to get up on that sidewalk, and I'm going to go. On the outside with the X, we don't make this difficult. Guys, I want to make sure that corner is blocked. So very simply put, if we've got a corner right here, whether it's 6, 7, if he's pressed, run him off, I don't care. If he's 6 or 7, we always tell him, take 3 steps in hard and then work back out to kick him out. We got to get inside leverage, because here's the thing about it. Both with this corner and this hole player, this outside backer, we want them to go ahead and try and run it down from underneath. Because if they've done that and we get up quick on that sidewalk, these two have taken themselves completely out of the play. Now if they play it well and they go back over the top, that's fine, but they're making a play, they're making a tackle 7, 8 yards downfield. So this is our power solo screen. We also run this out of trips. We can run it out of trips to number 2. The only difference is this. When we have 3 receivers right here, all right, and our H takes off to bubble, that is fine. Now as a Y, what we're going to do is I'm actually going to push up 2 steps, and I'm going to work to kick out that hole player. So I'll push up right here, work to kick out, and all that's doing to our tackle down here is as he steps down and gets out flat, if nobody there, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn up the alley. That's it. So we can run it out of trips. You can also run it out of single receiver. It does not matter, but this is our power solo screen. All right, this is 52 power solo or H power solo. We are going to go ahead and line the F up on the left side. We're going to fake power to the right, so our left guard will pull. Both the right guard and right tackle will double, work the backside backer. Remember what our linemen are doing. Our left tackle is going to go ahead and he's going to step down, and as that defensive end comes off the edge, I'm going to get flat out. I'm going to work out towards that first defender outside the box. That center is going to take a step back. I'm sorry, center is going to block back. I apologize. He's going to be flat for 5. He's going to whiff on that. And then he's going to turn around and he's going to curl up and take number 1 backer inside the box. Quarterback does a great job of just putting the ball out. You don't want to ride it, like we said. We're putting the ball out as we're bailing. So literally, I'm putting this out as my first step is back. All right? He goes ahead, puts it out. We give a great fake. F does a nice job of rolling over nothing, gets people to go with him. H is down here. What do we say? H is going to bubble, and as soon as they see something, all right, and they didn't jump on it because this is one of the first times we ran it, but we do a great job of this left tackle being flat. And look at this. X gets inside of the corner, sets up exactly how we want. Now we've got our lineman coming out flat. He's breaking down, does an excellent job. We get hands on. Look at our center going ahead. Doesn't have action, gets up to the next level. All right, and the safety goes ahead, jukes him out of his shoes, but at the same time, I'm not anticipating that center making that block on that safety. You can't plan for that. But I know this, we've got an athlete out there with the ball in space, which is important. We've got another power solo look. This is 52, so this is to the top side right here to this H. All right, play fake away. F does a great job. We've got everybody stepping. Guys, this is a great thing for you. If you're sitting here, you're running GT, you're running power, you're running it down somebody's throat, and they have to overcompensate. Every time you're pulling, they're scraping over the top. They have to follow that. They're reading guards, and it's a great way for you guys to work off of that. Okay? X on the outside, what does he do? He steps inside, gets a good angle, gets a piece of him. Our left tackle is going to go ahead, step down as the defensive end flies off the edge. He's going to get out flat, take number 1 outside the box, and what have we created? We created this sidewalk that I talked about right here and right here. It's a small lane, but it is a lane. Center goes ahead, doesn't have work. He's getting up to the next level, trying to get a body on somebody. A big gain for us. We're going to do one more right here. Once again up top. Okay? We've created a little bit more space now. We're running on a hash. I don't have a specific spot that I like to run this on. Obviously, I don't like running it on the same hash. So if I'm, I want to run power solo and I'm on the left hash, I don't want to run it to the left side. I don't have a ton of room to maneuver. I'd much rather, from a screen standpoint, run a jail into the boundary as opposed to power solo. All right? But we go ahead, give the fake away. Tackle gets out clean. Now, this X right here sees this. All right? He sees a guy screaming down, and he goes ahead and tries to get inside. He didn't need to. Guys have to do your job. He should have stepped out 1, 2, 3 and worked the kick out on that corner. We've got the corner taken care of. All right? They actually come down and they get a piece. We still pick up 5 or 6 yards, but it's a nice little successful play for us. I highly recommend you guys looking at the solo screen as well as the jail in the Alabama. As I said before, they are extensions of our run game. It gives us what we feel like is an advantage. It allows us to have something that we feel safe. People always talk about throwing the ball. 2 things bad can happen. With us, we feel like there's a little bit less of a risk involved, and it's definitely, you get more bang for your buck. I mean, we're up into the second level often. Thank you.